We ready? Is everybody ready? Call the meeting to order. It's 2:00 on Saturday. I think it's March 9th. Does everybody agree with that? Don't forget, by the way, tonight is the night we get ripped off an hour, which we won't get off. We won't get back until the fall. So I hope you got some extra sleep last night because you're going to lose it tonight. Welcome, welcome. My calendar on my phone says I'm supposed to be in a meeting now. Does everybody have their phones muted?
No.
Oh, look, here's Bob Cookler. Hey, Bob. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming.
Sign in.
We have a visitor, Mr. Bob Cookler. I haven't seen him here. I don't know when. Nice to see him. Oh, I was getting the phones. Everybody's got their phones muted. Everybody's got their badge on. You haven't got a badge yet? We'll see if we can rectify that today. We might have one here for you.
You ought to do what Sacred Heart does. If the girls don't have their ID, they get a detention.
Oh, it's not a bad idea. I like that.
You never know.
I like that. I don't see any visitors here today. I think everybody that's here is supposed to be here. Other than Bob Cookler. Russ, you got any visitors at home?
No, matter of fact, it's pretty quiet around here.
Okay, everybody's here supposed to be here. Okay, let's move on then. Everybody, Barbara's not here to remind everybody to sign in, but everybody signed in? I'll tell her we still need her to follow up though in the next meeting. So thank you. You might have noticed over on the sign-in table, if you didn't, now's a good time to talk about that since it is on the sign-up table. We have a couple of tchotchkes over there. We have this, which, big deal, a piece of paper from the National Model Railroad Station. But if you turn it over on the back side, there's a scale ruler. So if you don't have one of these, you might pick up one on the way out. And if you're a sticker person, NMRA sticker, you can put on your forehead or your shirt, your car window, your refrigerator, anywhere around the house. You'd like to remind people, might see it and say, what's the NMRA or what's the National Model Railroad Association? And you can recruit a new member because we need new members. We're down on membership. So we'll talk about the train show, but we get to talk to people about the train show and membership at the train show next weekend. That's from the last meeting. Bob, would you go ahead and read them?
Unknown caller.
No. Unless. Motion we dispense with the reading of the minutes, except them as posted.
Mike saved you.
Who's the second?
Carl, put down Carl.
Carl.
It was actually Stan, but
Well,
he didn't raise his hand. Carl raised his hand.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl. All those in favor of approving the minutes as posted to the website from the last meeting? Any opposed? Oh,
Barbara's in.
good to see. Mike Berry. Time for committee reports, starting off with Treasury.
Okay, for this month, as of yesterday, on the expenses side, any questions? That's probably confusing enough, but are there any questions?
Move they be posted for audit.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? I'd like your report, Mike.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm afraid to ask.
Member welfare.
All right, for the month, couple of things. I mentioned a moment ago about a gift card to Mr. Johnson. Well, as you can see, he's sitting right here. So thankfully, Bob is getting better. Bob spent a couple of nights right in the hospital, and is obviously doing better now. So we're glad to see that. Well done. Guess a get well card helps. Okay. And then Mr. Rick Tipton, he is out of the hospital right now. Rick has been fighting several different things and hopefully he's kind of got it going his way, we hope, right now. But you might want to keep Rick in your thoughts. As always, please let us know if somebody is sick in the hospital, or God forbid, somebody has somebody pass away in their family. Let us know so we can send them a little note from the division. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Mark Norman, AP, apparent.
Achievement Program, come on up, Stan. We do have an award this month. And Stan's completed requirements for model railroad engineer, electrical. Congratulations, Stan.
Thank you.
And Mark, I thought you were gonna mention he has another one.
Oh, it's right here, right here.
Yeah.
That one's coming up for, did it go in this afternoon?
And Stan, that'll put you be, how many out?
Got 2 to go.
Fantastic.
All right. All you gotta do is the paperwork.
Just the paperwork.
All right, model contest. We had 6 entries this month. And of course, the content was structures.
I'd like to say that it had to be the toughest decision I had.
We had some really great entries this month. Very hard to choose. And we have the 3 honorable mentions, which were all outstanding. We have Mr. Ed Brennan, who tried to sneak in a trestle, trying to pretend it was a structure, and thank goodness nobody bought that. It's a beautiful bridge, though. Ed just made a lot of beautiful bridges, if you didn't know that. I think bridges is one of his things. And then Rick's McDonald's, the fact that there's a order board, which you can't see inside the restaurant there on the wall, lit order board is pretty neat. And a bunch of the stuff here in his model are 3D printed from his 3D printing. And of course, one of Mr. Lasher's many signal towers on Mr. Weiss's layout, always, when you consider that that's just from a Tyco model that he rebuilt into something nice. Moving on to, there's no 3rd place winner because the tie for 2nd place this time between Mr. Frank Roan's Southern Roundhouse, beautiful thing, beautiful array of diesel power there, by the way. Yeah, drone shot from above. Yeah. And then, of course, the hotel and YMCA, a beautiful model. And that's what scale is that? N scale. We hardly ever see those. Sweet.
Fantastic.
When you consider the size. Yeah. And then 1st place is Mr. Cecil Stewart, who happens to be here today.
Yeah.
Cecil? Cecil has done this beautiful coal tower. Say a few things about the coal tower.
This has been built a long time. This was built around 1980 at the urging of one of my friends in Houston, and to build it strictly for contest, and he transported it all the way to San Mateo for the national floor meetings. And coming back then, I don't have coal-fired equipment on my railroad. SP was all oil-fired. So I offered it to him for his railroad, and it spent the last 40 years on his railroad till he passed away this last year. And I now have it back in my railroad.
You built it from a kit?
No, it's scratch built, board by board. And cast, the foundations are all hydrocal castings.
What scale is
It's HO.
Nice job.
And Cecil tells me that there happens to be a photograph in the April 2024 Model Railroader magazine on page 27, is that right?
Yes.
Page 27, you can see it.
The gentleman that had it for the 40 years has been nominated for a Model Railroader Hall of Fame, and so the picture for the article this month has a view of his yard with that cooling tower in it.
Well done,
Beautiful.
I'll
work,
go
Steve.
back and look at that.
well done.
Any season.
Thank you.
Thank you. As a reminder, the contest continues next month in April with passenger cars, so get your passenger cars ready. The next meeting, which we'll talk about in a minute, is not that far away. It's on April 13th. Although we have some kind of event in between now and then. I don't know what it is, but we'll talk about that later. Programs and meetings, Mr. Weiss. Talk
Thanks,
to us.
Ron. Well, on deck today, we have our own Bob Frankrone giving us the background of the Cary blast furnace. And if you got a chance to read what Bob sent out yesterday, you'll know that this is a very large facility. And if you have the real estate on your layout, this could be some possibilities of having just a couple of guys working in the facility here for an op session. So we'll look forward to hearing all about it from Bob in a few minutes from now. And next month, something more exciting than the solar eclipse is, pardon me, Rich Mahaney coming to our April 13th meeting to give 4 different presentations. And Rich is just an outstanding speaker, so it should be a fun day. There's a few things that we need to tell you about for that day, though. One is you need to sign up. And it's nice that Ron had printed that you can either go to Groups.io, or if you haven't read the this month's pie card yet, there's a link in there that's very easy to take you to this, that you can sign up for the whole day. Or say if your grandson has a soccer match in the morning, you can skip that one, come to lunch and see the rest of them during the day. Or at the back end, say if you have a wedding or something to go to, you can catch the first 3 and not sign up for the final one. Also, as you see in there, that for $5, you can have a great McAllister's deli box lunch, same type that we had for our picnic last year. Or if you want to skip down the street to McDonald's, you can have a $10 Happy Meal. But of course, you'll get the toy with that, so your call. But we made it very, very easy for you to sign up for all these. Now, one gotcha here that you need to pay attention to, that if you can't make any of these, just like today, only our business meeting and Rich's presentation right after the business meeting will be Zoomed. So the whole day is not going to be Zoomed. So if you know, you can only, if you can't make it, then you're only going to be able to see the one virtually. Let's see. The other thing is, so make up your mind quickly. The slots are filling up. As you can see it, you guys at the library there, that 50 chairs will make it very cozy, but that's all the more we can fit in. So make up your mind and sign up for this. The deadline for signing up is Sunday, April 7th. So Don't procrastinate of this. So Ron, I'll turn it back over to you.
Russ, I threw my pie card away because I like to keep my inbox clean. What do I do?
Well, you can go to Groups.io.
I'm not a member of Groups.io.
Tell us.
Guess what? The pie card from eternity is on the website. And all you have to do is navigate. All you have to do is go to Google and type in Division 8, Mid Central Region, NMRA, or the initials thereof. And you go right to the website, to the pie card, and there you can find it.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
And to make it even easier, between now and April 13th, we actually will send a link out with a reminder to everybody, not just the Groups.io folks, but to everybody, in case you can't find a way to register. Okay, thank you, Ross.
You betcha.
Oh, I almost forgot about this.
Yeah.
Coming up next Saturday, train show and sale. A couple of reminders about the show. As I mentioned earlier, we're always looking, if you see people around the show staring longingly at your stuff, see if you can recruit them to join the NMRA, because we're looking for a few good people, men as well as ladies. And I don't know if you probably don't know this because most of you come early, but I've heard tell there's never a parking problem when I get there. Let's just say that. I've heard there is a parking. There's nobody there when I leave either. I don't understand what happens in between, but if you have a problem parking, you might consider carpooling with an NMRA Division 8 friend. And since you have your badge out today, leave it in the car or just leave it around your neck all week. Because that way you remember to wear it at the show, because it helps people. They'll see your badge and they say, "What's that?" And then you can talk about Division 8. Door prizes. Bob, do we ever have enough door prizes?
We can always use door prizes. The only thing we have been asking members to donate door prizes, and several have. The only thing I say is that, if it's a kit or a car or something like that, it'd be helpful if it's in its original box. And, if you got peanut butter all over, maybe I don't want it. Anyway, use it to stir your paint or something. No, I don't want that. But something that looks good, but we sure can use them. The door prizes, in case you wonder, the purpose of the door prizes is pretty sneaky. It's to get their name and address and our email address so we can nag them about the next show. That's why we do that. So I appreciate anything you have. Oh, last thing, if you have something, you can bring it to the show. I can always check it in at the show.
Just see Bob at the door prize table. And as we like to say, bring something you'd like to win. Advance tickets. You can get an advance ticket online. Just go to our website. See this little thing right here? You can click here. We're actually on the website right below here on the website. There's a thing. I forget what it says. Buy now. You can click there and have more money in your pocket the day of the show. If you can't come to the show, how about buying a ticket? Because guess what? We are a nonprofit and this is a fundraiser. So if you can't come to the show, you'd like to contribute in some small way to our success, we'd love to have $6 if you're a real sport. Get 2 tickets. Guess what? That brings us to adjournment, but don't go away, because it's time for Back to Basics.
Back to basics. We haven't done a back to basics in a few months, have we?
No.
No. All right. I have received several questions. Why me? I don't know, but I've received several questions instead of Mark, who is our AP chair, about the achievement program, probably because I was available at the moment and said, we have a question. And if you've been following social media over the last 24 hours or so, there's been a big kerfluffle out there about the NMRA Achievement Program. Kevin's chuckling back there because he knows about it. Someone posted a document to Facebook and then several other social media outlets on behalf of the NMRA, and it was so bogus from the first sentence. Anybody who has a clue about the NMRA or the Achievement Program would go, yeah, this is fake. This is not just fake. It's really, really fake. Gordy got out there. He posted a few things. Lucy's posted a couple things. If you check our Facebook page, my Facebook page, you'll see that I shared it out there pretty much in an attempt to say, this ain't happening. So go out and look at it. You can see that. But let's do a quick look at the NMRA Achievement Program. Been around for quite a while, actually. I'm not going to go into all the history, but I guess it won't move. I do want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, it is part of the education department for the NMRA. It's education. It's not contest. It's education. The idea is you do the achievement program to learn something new that you might not have known before. Incentives to learn, master model railroading crafts and skills that you might not have known before. And maybe you kind of knew how to do something and you thought it was pretty good. Well, you bring it in front of evaluators and they're going to say, good effort. Let me show you some things you can improve. Bring it back if you want a higher score. Of course, you know what the score is, right? That you have to receive 87.5 out of 125, which if you do the math is 70%, which in school would mean a C, right? That's why, you know what MMR stands for? Mediocre model railroaders. Okay. All right. The requirements for each category are kind of guideposts to get you moving along in this thing. And it's all on the NMRA website. And there's a lot of things on the NMRA website. The ultimate document that actually is the governing principle or the governing document is the CPPM, or the Corporate Policy and Procedures Manual. If nothing else, this is great if you want to go to sleep at night and you can't otherwise. Just read this thing. And it'll take you that long to find it because that's the URL that'll get you there, okay? Or just go to the NMRA website, Education Achievement Program. You can find it there, and it'll give you all the information you need to. So let's talk about the first thing, what most people do first. And by the way, if you want to get the Golden Spike Award somewhere in your list of accomplishments towards your Master Model Railroader, you must do this before you become an MMR. You can't go back and get it after you're an MMR. And we have at least one person in Division 8, who found that out the hard way. So what do you got to do? Not a lot. 6 pieces of rolling stock. You got to display them. They can be scratch built. They can be craftsman kits. They can be super detailed, whatever. That's all you have to do for that. That works. 8 square feet of model railroad with scenery. 8 square feet. Doesn't matter if you're N scale, HO, not TT, T, you know, that teeny tiny. G scale. You know, that would be like what? You know, it'd be nothing, okay? It doesn't matter, but 8 square feet. That's 1 by 8, 2 by 4, whatever. Or if you want to get fancier than that, you know, 2.5 by something else. 5 structures, scratch built or craftsman kits, super detailed. Got it? Or just a kit that's super detailed. Just a kit that's super detailed. What I use for my Golden Spike were some Kibri kits that I bought for our German traveling layout, and they're just plastic put together, but you got a little bit of extra paint, a little bit of weathering, some extra flowers in the flower pots and things like that, and away you go. Layout must include 3 types of track work. This is very, very, very misleading, isn't it, Mark? You got 3 turnouts, you have 3 pieces of track work, such as switches, crossovers, something else. That's it, okay? That's it. Got to have straight track, obviously. And you have to have 1 additional electrical feature on the layout. You built the structure, right? It's on the layout. Check. Take a couple wires, connect it to a little light bulb out of a flashlight, put that inside the building, hook it up to the accessory pack on the transformer. You now have an additional electrical feature. Got it? It can be as simple as that. All right. Actually, what I used, Mark, you weren't there. Joe Fields was the AP at that time, AP chairman at that time. What I use was a series of little flashing lights from the German layout. Guys, I built a little construction scene over here. I poured some ballast. I got a little end loader and that I just grabbed out of the box. And I put these little flashing lights out there, hooked it up to the accessory pack, and away you go. And and it really looked nice, especially since the little flashing lights were N scale. They really were in N scale. They were taller than the cars. So, okay, so MMR, what's it take? You have to complete 7 of 11 categories, and you must complete 1 category in each of the 4 areas. So there's 4 areas. Well, let's take a look at this. So these are the 4 areas: model railroad equipment, settings, engineering and operation, and then service to the hobby. I'm just going to list these out. I'm not going to go into the details on them because then we would need, well, Bob, you wouldn't be able to have your presentation. Okay. So model railroad equipment. This is the one that almost everyone saves for the last because they're the biggest stretch for most of us. You know, I had never scratch built a single freight car in my life. I did 8 freight cars. Boom, moving right along. Okay. Or you can do 3 pieces of motive power. Not everything has to be scratch built. Again, go look at the details. But for example, motive power, 1 scratch built, 2 super detailed. If you want, you can super detail and scratch build all 3. No one's going to stop you, except maybe your spousal unit. Rolling stock. Rolling stock, you got to do 8. 4 scratch built. The other 4 can be from kits. They've all got to be super detailed. And there are some other requirements in there, like they can't all be the same. And you have to do at least 1 passenger car and a couple other things. That's why you get this guy, or any of us actually become MMRs can talk to you about that. Settings, structures, scenery, prototype. Very few people do the prototype one because there's a lot of different pieces that go into it. But there's a guy sitting right back there, Rick Maloney. He did it, and he did the paperwork too. That's right. That's right. Oh, and I do want to talk about the scenery. The scenery does vary based on the scale. Okay, so it's a different amount of square footage for this, not for Golden Spike. Golden Spike, 8 square feet. This one does vary based on the scale. And structures, of course, the structures. How many structures? 12? I think it's 12. Yeah, I didn't do structures. I'm working on it now, though. Engineering and operation. Civil is track work. You don't have to build. You do not have to hand lay your entire layout for civil. You have to do 3 different types of track work. If you do a turnout, that's kind of the core. If you do a crossover, you know what a crossover is? 2 turnouts back to back. They connect on the diverging track. Let me see if I can do a turnout. I could probably do 2 more. I can probably connect them in the middle. The only challenge there is wiring it up. It ain't that hard. Then the last piece, you can do whatever you want to. I always recommend that people either do a scale track or a gauntlet track. If you don't know what those are, go look it up on the internet or ask Mark me, and we can talk you through it. Or now ask Stan. Stan and I spent 9 hours one day with me coaching him through how to do all this. Stan had never scratch built a single piece of track work, and he showed up about 9 that morning. 9 hours later, he walked out, and we successfully ran a locomotive across a turnout, a crossover, and a scale track. 9 hours, front to back. Okay. And then Stan went home and slept for about 3 days. There's the paperwork. Electrical, again, electrical is electrical. Chief dispatcher is going to make you be a chief dispatcher on someone's layout, and then 2 other jobs at least for a total of 50 hours. You got to be 10 hours on the dispatcher. It doesn't matter how many other hours you do on the other things. You could do 40 hours on dispatcher. You still got to do 10 hours on 2 other jobs. Okay. I think when I turned mine in, I stopped at about 80 hours. And then service to the hobby, association official. The way you do association official is you become the superintendent and stay in the job for 3 years and not get fired. Okay. Or at a higher level than that. Association volunteer, there's a long list of things you can do there. Did you help at the train show? Were you the AP chairman? Were you the benefits person, member welfare person? Were you the treasurer or the clerk? What? Yeah, so on and so forth. All those things all add up. Little points here and there. How many folks in here have the volunteer certificate? Yeah, a lot of folks in here. They've been around for a while. It just kind of happens. But it's interesting. Volunteer and official are the only 2 certificates that someone can submit on your behalf. The rest you have to sign off on. Okay. So I'm watching what you guys are doing for that volunteer certificate. If you just do it, that's fine. Most guys don't think about it until too late. And then like, I've already got it. And that right, Stan? That's right. And then model railroad author, you got to write stuff. Write stuff for the pie card. Submit photos for the pie card. That will get you halfway there. Total of 42 points that you need for various things, but you can only count half from the pie card or a 100% NMRA club. And I say the pie card, a division newsletter can only count for half of that. So you may have 80 points from writing articles, submitting pictures to the pie card. Only 21 of those will count toward that total 42. So what do you do for the rest? You come up here like Bob Francrone. You give a presentation and you get a point for that. No, you get 2 points for that. You go to the region convention and give that clinic and you don't count it for here, you get 4 points. You go to the national, you get, I think it's 6 or 8. You only get to count it twice. So if Bob gives this presentation here and at the Mid-Central region and at national, he could count one of those 3, but not all 3. But if he counted it here for giving a presentation, and then he gave it at national, he could count the fact that he did it at national toward his volunteer. Okay? All sorts of little rules in here. Okay? But none of it's all that, if I could do it, you guys can do it. So you got to complete 7 and 1 from each area, at least 1 from each area. So, in theory, you could do Modi Power, rolling stock, all the master builder stuff, chief dispatcher, associated volunteer, and you got it done. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. You got to do at least 1 from each area. So this is what I started out saying. None of it's hard, really. And don't put too much into it as far as overthinking it. Don't overthink what they're asking. It's pretty basic. The one question I hear mostly from people is about the civil because if you know me, I'm the scratch built track work guy. But I get 2 questions. One is, when I scratch build my track work, does it have to be super detailed? No. It has to work. You have to be able to run a locomotive through it, and it's got to meet the NMRA standards gauge. That's it. When I lay track of my layout for the Golden Spike, or for the civil engineer for that matter, does it have to be scratch built? No. Just those 3 pieces. Rick.
Looking at the achievement program part, there's always an article in there, sometimes several, from people that have actually gotten a certificate and tell you exactly what you have to do.
Yep.
And explain it to you in a way you can understand it. If you read the NMRA instructions, sometimes it makes it seem like it's a lot more complicated.
It does. Yep. The other thing I would suggest is, in line with that, go back and look for the last year plus at Cynthia Priest's articles on her path to becoming an MMR. It's a great explanation of how you get there. She's not there yet. She's still finishing up those nasty day jobs, So your first real step is talk to this guy right here, Mark Norman. Yeah, this guy right here that's ducking down. He's going to set you on the right path and tell you the real story about what you really need to do. And remember, it's not judging, it's evaluating. Okay? You're only working for yourself. You're not being judged against what someone else is doing. We just want to make sure you meet those standards. That's it. Yay, I'm done. So we'll take a 5-minute break here. I've got my timer going.